Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well and that you enjoyed this beautiful day. Today, we are going to talk about fats. All right. Last week, we talked about carbs and how they were essential for you and what were good, smart carbs and what were carbs that aren't going to help you reach your goals as quickly. And so, this week is going to be all about fats. All right. And today, we're going to talk about what are healthy fats and what are unhealthy fats. Okay. So, there are 3-4 different types of fats. All right, we'll get into that weird fourth one here in a minute, okay? But the main ones are saturated fats, and those are things that are the fats that come from animals, all right, or even like tropical oils such as coconut, palm, or cacao, all right? Those are typically solid at room temperature, okay? And then you have monounsaturated fats. Those come from olives or olive oils, avocados, peanuts or tree nuts or even ground nuts, okay? And then you have polyunsaturated fats, right? These are divided into two categories. We have omega-3s and we have omega-6s, okay? Omega-3s are what we want more of, and those come from flax seed as well as fish, okay, and fish oil. And then omega-6 is what we want less of, and those come from things like seed oils, such as canola oil, safflower, or sunflower, or grapeseed oil, all those, okay? We'll get into the omega-3 and omega-6 ratio later in the week, okay? So be on the lookout for that one. All right, so what is the definition of a healthy fat? Well, typically we think that monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats are the healthy fats, all right? And then we kind of leave saturated fats over to the wayside, right? But the honest truth is we've had saturated fats all through creation, okay? So saturated fats aren't necessarily unhealthy. It's just we don't want to have so much of them, okay? So a better definition of a healthy fat is a relatively unprocessed fat that is from whole foods, okay? So an unhealthy fat would be something that is typically industrially produced and designed in order to make that food non-perishable, okay? For instance, trans fatty acids in processed foods, okay? Those are put in there to keep the shelf life on that food stable and make it last longer. Okay, hydrogenated fats such as like margarine. Again, this makes it more shelf stable. Okay, we're going to talk about this quite a bit later in the week, but hydrogenated oils are where they push hydrogen to make something that is typically a liquid into a solid. Okay, and then any kind of shelf stable oil. Okay, such as corn oil, canola oil, soybean oil, and vegetable oil, all right? So anything that is a fat that has a long shelf life, that has been industrially produced to make it have a long shelf life, those are our unhealthy fats that we want to avoid, okay? Now, what are the benefits of healthy fats, okay? We're not talking about unhealthy fats right now. Why do we need healthy fats in our diet? Why are they necessary, okay? There are so many benefits, okay? So it helps provide cardiovascular protection. It helps improve your body composition, especially when you're focusing on those healthy fats and those omega-3s. It helps alleviate depression, okay? Whereas those unhealthy fats can actually cause depression. It can prevent cancers, preserve your memory, preserve your eye health, reduce incidence of aggressive behavior, okay? Again, making sure your ratios are right and that you're using healthy fats and not unhealthy fats, okay? This is especially important in children, okay? And it also can reduce ADHD and ADD symptoms, okay? Healthy fats, all right? Healthy fats help us produce energy, okay? Fats are actually the most energy-dense macronutrient out there, okay? Whereas protein and carbs have 4 kilocalories per gram, your fats have 9, okay? So it's very energy dense, all right? And fats help make and balance hormones. They form our cell membranes. They form our brain and our nervous system. and they transport fat-soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, and K throughout our bodies, okay? Now, bad fats, all right? Bad fats are what we call trans fats, okay? Trans fats act differently in our bodies. Whereas the other type of fats, they kind of kink up and make an accordion, trans fats do not. And they pack very, very tightly into our cell membranes, okay? This changes the membrane fluidity of our cell membranes and causes all sorts of problems. This can cause an increased risk for coronary heart disease, cancer, and many, many other chronic diseases, okay? Also, these trans fats change how fats are processed in our bodies, okay? So one big key in losing weight is make sure that your fats are being processed correctly, so you want to make sure you're avoiding those trans fats. Some really good things to know about fats, all right? Milk fat contains 4 to 8% trans fatty acids, okay? So a milk or a dairy alternative is essential here, okay? Did you know that on nutritional labels, if a product contains less than 0.5 grams of trans fat, they can declare that there are 0 grams of trans fat, all right? So your nutritional label is not always telling you the whole truth, all right? For every 1% increase in total energy intake from saturated fat, okay, it can increase our plasma cholesterol levels, okay? And then back to trans fats. There is absolutely no safe level of trans fat consumption, all right? The United States Food and Drug Administration back in 2015, all right, 6 years ago, concluded that artificial trans fats are not generally recognized as safe. And they declared that the production of trans fats need to be phased out. This has not happened yet, okay? But they recognize they are not safe, okay? The World Health Organization actually recommends that trans fats be limited to less than 1% of our overall energy intake. 1%. However, on your typical American diet, it is astronomically high, okay? Just these foods have over 20 grams of trans fats, all right? So if you have 2 microwave waffles, 1 small bag of chips, 1 order of French fries, and 1 tablespoon of margarine, you have already hit 20 grams of trans fats in your day, okay? But we're not supposed to consume any or less than 1% of your overall energy intake needs to be trans fats, okay? This is why processed foods are something I highly recommend get out of your house because of the trans fats in them and the damage that they do to your body and your health and your mind, okay? Your saturated fats need to be less than 10% of your total calories, okay? So that's the fats from the animal proteins and the tropical oils, okay? We definitely need to limit or completely eliminate trans fats in our diet, all right? And we do that by avoiding industrial or processed, artificially created foods with especially high levels of fat in them. We definitely want to avoid those, okay? So that's a basic rundown of your general information on healthy fats and unhealthy fats. Essentially, stay to whole foods, stay to saturated, monounsaturated, and polyunsaturated fats. Check the nutritional label. If it has trans fats on it, you do not want to consume that because of the damage that is going to do to your body, okay? And a good thing to keep in mind, and we'll talk about this later in the week, a good thing to keep in mind is if a fat is supposed to be liquid, but it is solid, it has been hydrogenated and made into a trans fat. For instance, okay, and this is a big pet peeve of mine, but the margarine that is made out of olive oil, okay, olive oil is a liquid naturally. It has to be hydrogenated in order to be turned into your healthy margarine alternative. it is nothing but trans fats at that point. It is no longer healthy, even though it's made from olive oil. Okay, so the rest of this week, we're going to cover things like your omega-6 and omega-3 balances. We're going to talk about why aged cheese is more beneficial for you, and many other topics. Okay, so I can't wait to discuss these things with you. If you have any questions whatsoever on healthy or unhealthy fats, or on what you should eat in general, please do not be afraid to reach out to myself or my husband Samuel George. We would love to help you. This is what we do. We educate people on what foods are good for them and can help them reach their goals. So if you would like to receive that education as well as accountability and support, we would love to help you out. Just give us a message. All right, guys, you have a great rest of your evening. Bye.